I'm gonna be answering question 1 right now, which entails how does your product use or challenge conventions and how does it represent social groups or issues. My movie, Lonely, is a psychological thriller which explores the themes of depression and loneliness and body hatred, which is represented by the protagonist, who is a girl and a teenager, with that she gets death notes. My research that I've done while making my movie showed that 20% of teenagers will experience depression before reaching adulthood, which is in mind with my target audience, which is teenagers and young adults, which is perfectly fine. My movie challenges conventions with codes of conventions because mental health is still not an open discussion in the world. It's still a bit frowned upon if that when movies are released about mental health, it's really rare, especially dealing with depression. And most movies that do come out are about the extremes, such as the movie Split, where the protagonist has 23 different personalities. Depressions represents a social issue with that more people are getting depressed, and especially from young ages, that I've discovered in my research. Body hatred is also something that's occurring a lot in especially my age group, which is teenagers, which would make the audience able to relate to the character. With the scene in the bathtub, she tries to commit suicide, which goes against the norms with that that goes against norms about having a topic with the movie, because not many movies do go about depression, and that they support the idea that it should be kept behind closed doors. Pardon me. The social groups that I used in my film were teenagers and family. With that, it challenges codes of conventions. With that, in most teenage films are with teenagers in films are represented to have lots of friends and very involved with social media. However, this is not represented in my film Lonely, which emphasizes that she's lonely and bullied. This is seen in the film by that she gets a text from her parents showing that they're away and kept her at home, which is not the norm because most parents are involved in their child's life and do not go on holiday while their child is at home. Commonly, teenagers in films are presented as very social with having many child friends. However, the film Lonely is going against stereotypical idea of that she's presented to be very lonely and unstable in the whole film, which emphasizes that my character is not falling in any stereotypical social group. Additionally, you can see that she's getting death threats by text saying that she should die. The absence of her family is also something that's portrayed as something that's not stereotypical. This person behind the text would the person behind the text with the death threat from saying that she should die is qualifying as an antagonist in my film story, which is the bullier, because he's very hostile against the character. One thing you should be aware about when looking at social groups is that about the damage a stereotype can do to person's personality and self-confidence. This might appeal to audiences to the fact that it's not stereotypical teenage movies such as the series Mean Girls or Twilight, which use conventions with the popular teens and nerds. This, however, links with using the Blumler and Katz using gratification theory, which show why certain people seek out specific media to satisfy their needs. One of the main assumptions of this theory is by using personal identity, which is a very big thing, is that audience want to see a reflection of themselves, which will encourage the audience to engage with the film. It's important that audience can relate to the character because it increases the effectiveness and appeal to the character, which should help the audience enhance their personal identity and help make my film more profitable. Normally, non-diegetic and sounds would be put on in the background. However, I decided to make the diegetic sound of the tap very loud, which would show that everything that she is hearing is tripled in sound. This shows that the audience that she can't handle everyday life, such as making a cup of tea, with that she forgets to turn the tap off, which is boiling hot water, which is very dangerous. With using color grading that I put over my original film, which would normally be bright with lots of light, I was able to control the mood and coherence of my film. I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing this wrong. I changed my clip from normal yellowish tone from the sun to a very low temperature color while keeping it high contrast. So it will keep you still see the image, but it will be like a bluish tone. The color blue associates to depression and sadness, which are commonly used in poems such as The Blues and Complaints of Mars. Blues is also associated the color blue is also associated with coldness, and the color grey being associated with dullness and lack of motivation, which is in the text of the voiceover. Because my voiceover mentions this, so I used greyish and bluish tones. The color blue is the most popular. However, the color blue is the most popular color, which is very gender neutral, so it will be attract to both genders of my target audience. This is a convention challenge because most films want to have natural light as opposed to having a bluish greyish tone. Pardon. I used conventions editing with using jump shots consistently among the clips, which average between 4 and 8 seconds to keep the audience engaged without the use of fading in and fading and out transitions. These fast jump cuts with overlaying sound connotates teams with disorganization and haste to get something done, which in the end becomes known to be committing suicide. With the jump cut being frequently used in movies such as Royal Tenenbaums, with the moving to the bone that I took inspiration from, which is mentioned in my blog, has an average shot length of 9 to 12 seconds. This is also presented in the movie The Post by Steven Spielberg, who is a director of Jurassic Park, has an average shot length of 9 seconds. So he's very famous, but he uses very long shots. The scene with the tabs open uses conventions because not many people have left so many tabs open. The meaning of the scene was to show that she can't be bothered to do anything anymore, to the extent that the only thing that she thinks about is taking her own life, which is also a challenge to conventions. Yeah, thank you.